reading All's Well That Ends Well
Shakespeare.
by William Shakespeare, adapted by Taylor Phillips. Playing
Yay, Taylor!
Hey! Playing Helen.
Taylor Lynne.
Playing the King of France and the First Gentleman.
Alexander Chilton.
Playing the Countess and Mariana.
Mariana? Really? Okay. Liz, Bove. I thought it was just the Countess. Sorry.
Or maybe it is Countess Mariana. I'm not sure. I guess we shall see.
Okay.
It's both roles.
It's 2 roles.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't know that.
Playing Bertram.
Miguel Fana.
Playing LAFEW, second gentleman. LAFEW.
Janove.
Playing LAVATCH, soldier, and the gentleman.
La Bogen.
Playing PAROLLES.
French.
Kane.
Playing Diana, the Duke of Florence, and the second DUMAINE Lord.
Rachel Adler.
Playing the widow, the first DUMAINE Lord, and Rinaldo.
David Mackler.
Act 1, Scene 1. Roussillon, the Count's palace. Enter young Bertram, the Count of Roussillon, his mother, the Countess of Roussillon, Helen, and Lord LAFEW, all in black.
In delivering my son for me, I bury a second husband.
And I, in going, madam, weep o'er my father's death anew. But I must attend his majesty's command, to whom I am now in ward, evermore in subjection.
Who shall find the king a husband, madam? You, sir, a father. He that so generally is at all times good must of necessity hold his virtues to you, whose worthlessness, worthiness would stir it up where it wanted rather than lack it were there in such abundance.
What hope is there of his majesty's amendment?
Oh, he hath abandoned his physicians, madam, under whose practices he hath persecuted time with hope, and find no other advantage in the process but only the losing of hope by time.
This young gentlewoman had a father. Oh, that had. How sad a passage 'tis, whose skill was almost as great as his honesty. Had it stretched so far, would have made nature immortal, and death should have play for lack of work. Would for the king's sake he were living. I think it would be the death of the king's disease.
How called you the man you speak of, madam?
He was famous, sir, in his profession, and it was his great right to be so. Gerard de Narbonne.
Ah, he was excellent indeed, madam. The king very lately spoke of him admiringly and mourningly. Was this gentlewoman the daughter of Gerard de Narbonne?
His sole child, my lord, and bequeathed to my overlooking. I have those hopes of her good that her education promises. Her disposition she inherits, which makes fair gifts fairer. For where an unclean mind carries virtuous qualities, there commendations go with pity. They are virtues and traitors too. In her, they are the better for their simpleness. She derives her honesty and achieves her goodness.
Ah, your commendations, madam. Get from her tears.
'Tis the best brine a maiden can season her praise in. The remembrance of her father never approaches her heart, but the tyranny of her sorrows takes all livelihood from her cheek. No more of this. Helen, go to. No more, lest it be rather thought you affect a sorrow than have.
I do affect a sorrow indeed, but I have it too.
Moderate lamentation is the right of the dead. Excessive grief the enemy to the living.
If the living be enemy to the grief, the excess makes it soon mortal.
Madam, I desire your holy wishes.
Be thou blessed, Bertram, and succeed thy father in manners as in shape. Thy blood and virtue contend for empire in thee, and thy goodness share with thy birthright. Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none. Be able for thine enemy, rather in power than use, and keep thy friend under thy own life's key. Be checked for silence, but never taxed for speech. What heaven more will, that thee may furnish, and my prayers pluck down, fall on thy head. Good, my lord, advise him.
He cannot want the best that shall attend his love.
Heaven bless him. Farewell, Bertram.
Best wishes that can be forged in your thoughts be servants to you. Be comfortable to my mother, your mistress, and make much of her.
Farewell, pretty lady. You must hold the credit of your father.
Exeunt Bertram and LAFEW.
Oh, were that all? I think not on my father. And these great tears grace his remembrance more than those I shed for him. What was he like? I have forgot him. My imagination carries no favor in it but Bertram's. I am undone. There is no living, none if Bertram be away. 'Twere all one that I should love a bright particular star and think to wed it, he is so above me. In his bright radiance and collateral light must I be comforted, not in his fear. The ambition in my love thus plagues itself. The hind that would be mated by the lion must die for love. 'Twas pretty, though a plague, to see him every hour. Sit and drawl his arched brows, his hawking eye, his curls in our heart's table. Heart too capable of every line and trick of his sweet favor. But now he's gone, and my idolatrous fancy must sanctify his relics. Oh, but who comes here?
Enter PAROLLES.
One that goes with him. I love him for his sake, and yet I know him, a notorious liar, think him a great way fool, solely a coward. Yet these fixed evils sit so fit in him that they take place when virtue's steely bones look bleak in the cold wind. Withal, full oft we see cold wisdom waiting on superfluous folly.
LAFEW, fair queen, are you meditating on virginity?
Aye. You have some stain of soldier in you. Let me ask you a question. Man is enemy to virginity. How may we barricado it against him? Unfold to us some warlike resistance.
There is none. Men setting down before you will undermine you and blow you up.
Bless our poor virginity from underminers and blower-ups. Is there no military policy how virgins might blow up men?
Virginity being blown down, men will quicker be blown up. Marry, and blowing them down again with the breach yourselves made, you lose your city. It is not politic in the commonwealth of nature to preserve virginity. Loss of virginity is rational increase, and there were never virgin got till virginity was first lost. Virginity, by being once lost, may be 10 times found. By being ever kept, it is ever lost. 'Tis too cold a companion. Away with it.
I will stand for it a little, though therefore I die a virgin.
Well, there's little can be said in it. 'Tis against the rule of nature. To speak on the part of virginity is to accuse your mothers of which is most infallible disobedience. Besides, virginity is peevish, proud, idle, made of self-love, which is the most inhibited sin in the canon. Keep it not. You cannot choose but lose by it.
How might one do, sir, to lose it to her own liking?
Let me see. Marry, ill to like him that ne'er it likes. 'Tis his commodity will lose the gloss with lying. The longer kept, the less worth. Off with it while it's suspendable. Answer the time of request. Your date is better in your pie and your porridge than in your cheek. And your virginity, your old virginity, is like one of our French withered pears. It looks ill, eats dryly. Marry, 'tis a withered pear. It was formerly better. Marry, yet 'tis a withered pear. Will you anything with it?
Not my virginity.
Monsieur
Yet.
PAROLLES!
Little Helen, farewell. If I can remember thee, I will think of thee at court.
Now shall he... I know not what he shall. God send him well. The court's a learning place, and he is one...
What one in faith?
that I wish well. It is pity.
What's pity?
That wishing well had not a body in it, which might be felt that we, the poorer born, whose baser stars do shut us up in wishes, might with effects of them follow our friends, and show what we alone must think, which never returns us thanks.
Monsieur PAROLLES!
Monsieur PAROLLES, you were born under a charitable star.
Under Mars, I
especially think under Mars.
Why under Mars?
The wars have kept you so under that you must needs be born under Mars.
He was predominant.
When he was in retrograde, I think rather.
Why think you so?
You go so much backward when you fight.
That's for advantage.
So is running away when fear proposes the safety. But the composition that your valor and fear makes in you is a virtue of a good wing, and I like the wear well.
I am so full of businesses I cannot answer thee acutely. I will return perfect courtier, in the which my instruction shall serve to naturalize thee, so thou wilt be capable of courtier's counsel, and understand what advice shall thrust upon thee. Else thou diest in thine unthankfulness, and thine ignorance makes thee away. Farewell. When thou hast leisure, say thy prayers. Get thee a good husband, and use him as he uses thee. So, farewell.
Exit PAROLLES.
Our remedies often ourselves do lie, which we ascribe to heaven. The fated sky gives us free scope, only doth backward pull our slow designs when we ourselves are dull. What power is it which mounts my love so high, that makes me see and cannot feed mine eye? The mightiest space and fortune nature brings to join like likes and kiss like native things. Impossible be strange attempts to those that weigh their pains and sense and do suppose what hath been cannot be. Whoever strove so show her merit, that did miss her love. The king's disease. My project may deceive me, but my intents are fixed and will not leave me.
Exit Helen. Scene 2, Paris, the king's palace. Flourish of cornets. Enter the King of France, attended with letters.
The Florentines and Genoese by the ears have fought with equal fortune and continue a braving war. We here received it a certainty vouched from our cousin Austria, with speed, with caution, that the Florentine will move us for speedy aid, wherein our dearest friend prejudicates the business and would seem to have us make denial. He hath armed our answer, and Florence is denied before he comes. Yet, for our gentlemen that mean to see the Tuscan service, freely have they leave to stand on either part. It well may serve a nursery to our gentry who are sick for breathing and exploit.
Enter Bertram, LAFEW, and PAROLLES.
What's he comes here?
It is the Count Roussillon, my good lord. Young Bertram.
Youth, that bear'st thy father's face, frank nature, rather curious than in haste, hath well composed thee. Thy father's moral parts mayst thou inherit too. Welcome to Paris.
My thanks and duty are your majesty's.
I would I had that corporal soundness now as when thy father and myself in friendship first tried our soldiership. He did look far into the service of the time and was discipled of the bravest. In his youth, he had the wit which I can well observe today in our young lords, but they may jest till their own scorn return to them unnoted, ere they can hide their levity in honor. So, like a courtier, contempt nor bitterness were in his pride or sharpness. If they were, his equal had awaked them, and his honor, clock to itself, knew the true minute when exception bid him speak, and at this time his tongue obeyed his hand. Who were below him he used as creatures of another place, and bowed his eminent top to their low ranks, making them proud of his humility. In their poor praise he humbled. Such a man might be a copy to these younger times, which followed well would demonstrate them now but goers backward.
His good remembrance, sir, lies richer in your thoughts than on his tomb.
Would I were with him! He would always say, methinks I hear him now, let me not live, as after my flame lacks oil to be the snuff of younger spirits, whose apprehensive senses all but new things disdain, whose judgments are mere fathers of their garments, whose constancies expire before their fashions. This he wished. I after him do after him wish too, since I nor wax nor honey can bring home, I quickly were dissolved from my hive to give some laborers room.
You are loved, sir. They that least lend it you shall lack you first.
I fill a place, I note. How long is it, Count, since the physician of your fathers died? He was much famed.
Some 6 months since, my lord.
If you were living, I would try him yet. Lend me an arm. The rest have worn me out with several applications. Nature and sickness debated at their leisure. Welcome, Count. My son's no dearer.
Thank your majesty.
Exeunt. Flourish. Scene 3, Roussillon, the Count's palace. Enter Countess, Rinaldo, and LAVATCH.
I will not hear. What say you of this gentlewoman?
Madam, the care I have had to even your content, I wish might be found in the calendar of my past endeavors. For then we wound our modesty and make foul the clearness of our deservings when of ourselves we publish them.
What does this knave here? Get you gone, sirrah. The complaint I have heard of you, I do not all believe. 'Tis my slowness that I do not, for I know you lack not folly to commit them, and have ability enough to make such knaveries yours.
'Tis not unknown to you, madam. I am a poor fellow.
Well, sir?
No, madam, 'tis not so well that I am poor, though many of the rich are damned. But if I may have your ladyship's good will to go to the world, Isabel, the woman and I will do as we may.
Tell me thy reason why thou wilt marry.
My poor body, madam, requires it. I am driven on by the flesh, and he must needs go that the devil drives.
Is this all your worship's reason?
Faith, madam, I have other holy reasons, such as hay are. I have been, madam, a wicked creature, as you and all flesh and blood are, and indeed I do marry that I may repent.
Thy marriage sooner than thy wickedness.
I am out of friends, madam, and I hope to have friends for my wife's sake.
Such friends are thine enemies, knave.
You're shallow, madam, and ingrate friends. For the knaves come to do that for me which I am aweary of. He that ears my land spares my team and gives me leave to in the crop. If I be his cuckold, he's my drudge. He that comforts my wife is the cherisher of my flesh and blood. He that cherishes my flesh and blood loves my flesh and blood. He that loves my flesh and blood is my friend. Ergo, he that kisses my wife is my friend. For I the ballad will repeat, which men full true shall find. Your marriage comes by destiny, your cuckoo sings by kind.
Wilt thou ever be foul-mouthed and calumnious, knave? Get you gone, sir. I'll talk with you more anon. Tell my gentlewoman I would speak with her. Helen, I mean.
Was this fair face the cause, quoth she, why the Grecians sacked Troy? Fond, done, fond, was this King Priam's joy?
You'll be gone, sir knave, and do as I command you.
That men should be at woman's command, and yet no hurt done. Though honestly be no Puritan, yet it will do no hurt. It will wear the surplice of humility over the black gown of a big heart. I am going, forsooth. The business is for Helen to come hither.
Exit LAVATCH.
Well now.
I know, madam, you love your gentlewoman entirely.
Faith I do. Her father bequeathed her to me, and she herself, without other advantage, may lawfully make title to as much love as she finds. There is more owning her than is paid. There's more owing her than is paid, and more shall be paid her than she'll demand.
Madam, I was very late, more near her than I think she wished me. Alone she was, and did communicate to herself her own words to her own ears. She thought, I dare vow for her, they touched not any stranger sense. Her matter was, she loved your son. This she delivered in the most bitter touch of sorrow that e'er I heard virgin exclaim in, which I held my duty speedily to acquaint you withal, since in the loss that may happen, it concerns you something to know it.
You have discharged this honestly. Keep it to yourself. Many likelihoods informed me of this before, which hung so tottering in the balance that I could neither believe nor misdoubt. Pray you, leave me. I will speak with you further anon.
Exit Rinaldo. Enter Helen.
Even so it was with me when I was young. If ever we are nature's, these are ours. This thorn doth to our rose of youth rightly belong, our blood to us. This is our blood is born. It is the show and seal of nature's truth, where love's strong passion is impressed in youth. By our remembrances of days foregone, such were our faults, or then we thought them none. Her eye is sick on it, I observe her now.
What is your pleasure, madam?
You know, Helen, I am mother to you.
Mine honorable mistress.
Nay, a mother. Why not a mother? When I said a mother, methought you saw a serpent. What's in mother, that you started it? I say I am your mother and put you in the catalogue of those that were enwombed mine. This 'tis often seen, adoption strives with nature, and choice breeds a native slip to us from foreign seeds. You ne'er oppressed me with a mother's groan, yet I express to you a mother's care. God's mercy, maiden, does it curd thy blood to say I am thy mother? What's the matter? That this distempered messenger of wet, the many-colored iris, rounds thy eye. Why? That you are my daughter.
That I am not.
I say I am your mother.
Pardon, madam. The Count Roussillon cannot be my brother. I am from humble, he from honored name. No note upon my parents, his all noble. My master, my dear lord he is, and I his servant live, and will his vassal die. He must not be my brother.
Nor I your mother?
You are my mother, madam. Would you were, so that my lord your son were not my brother. Indeed, my mother. Or were you both our mothers? I care no more for than I do for heaven, so I were not his sister. Can it no other but I your daughter, he must be my brother?
Yes, Helen, you might be my daughter-in-law. God shield you mean it not. Daughter and mother, so strive upon your pulse. What? Pale again? My fear hath catched your fondness. Now I see the mystery of your loneliness and find your salt tears head. Now to all sense 'tis gross. You love my son. Invention is ashamed against the proclamation of thy passion, to say thou dost not. Therefore, tell me true, but tell me then 'tis so. For look, thy cheeks confess it, the other to the other, and thine eyes see it so grossly shown in thy behaviors that in their kind they speak it. Only sin and hellish obstinacy tie thy tongue, that truth should be suspected. Speak, is it so? If it be so, you have wound a goodly clue. If it not be, forswear it. However, I charge thee, as heaven shall work in me for thine avail, tell me truly.
Good madam, pardon me.
Do you love my son?
Your pardon, noble mistress.
Love you, my son?
Do not you love him, mistress?
Go not about. My love hath in it a bond whereof the world takes note. Come, come, disclose the state of your affection, for your passions have to the full appreciated.
Helen kneels.
Then I confess, here on my knee, before high heaven and you, that before you and next unto high heaven, I love your son. My friends were poor but honest. So is my love. Be not offended, for it hurts not him that he is loved of me. I follow him not by any token of presumptuous suit, nor would I have him till I do deserve him. You never know how that desert should be. I know I love in vain. Strive against hope. Yet in this captious and untenable sieve, I still pour in the waters of my love, and lack not to lose still. Thus, Indian-like, religious in mine error, I adore the sun that looks upon his worshipper, but knows of him no more. My dearest madam, let not your hate encounter with my love, for loving where you do. But if yourself, whose aged honor cites a virtuous youth, did ever in so true a flame of liking wish chastely and love dearly, that your Diane was both herself and love, oh, then give pity to her, whose state is such that cannot choose but lend and give where she is sure to lose, that seeks not to find at her search and pride, but riddle-like lives sweetly where she dies.
Had you not lately an intent, speak truly, to go to Paris?
Madam, I had.
Wherefore? Tell true.
I will tell truth. By grace itself, I swear. You know my father left me some prescriptions of rare and proved effects, such as his reading and manifest experience had collected for general sovereignty, and that he willed me, in heedfullest reservation, to bestow them as notes where faculties inclusive were more than they were in note. Amongst the rest there is a remedy, approved, set down, to cure the desperate languishings whereof the king is rendered lost.
This was your motive for Paris, was it? Speak.
My lord, your son made me think of this, else Paris and the medicine and the king had from the conversation of my thoughts happily been absent then.
But think you, Helen, if you should tender your supposed aid, he would receive it? He and his physicians are of a mind, he that they cannot help him, they that they cannot help. How shall they credit a poor unlearned virgin when the schools emboweled of their doctrine have left off the danger to itself?
There's something in it, more than my father's skill, which was the greatest of his profession, that his good receipt shall for my legacy be sanctified by the luckiest stars in heaven. And would your honor but give me leave to try success, I'd venture the well-lost life of mine on his grace's cure by such a day and hour.
Dost thou believe it?
Aye, madam, knowingly.
Why, Helen, thou shalt have my leave and love, means and attendance, and my loving greetings to those of mine in court. I'll stay at home and pray God blessing into thy attempt. Be gone tomorrow, and be sure of this, what I can help thee to thou shalt not miss.
Exeunt. Act 2, Scene 1, Paris. The King's Palace. Flourish cornets. Enter King, attended with young lords, taking leave for the Florentine War. First and second DUMAINE Lord, Bertram, and PAROLLES.
Farewell, young lords. These warlike principles do not throw from you. Whether I live or die, be you the sons of worthy Frenchmen. Let higher Italy, those baited that inherit but the fall of last monarchy, see that you come not to woo honor, but to wed it. When the bravest question shrinks, find what you seek, that fame may cry you loud. Those girls of Italy, take heed of them. They say our French lack language to deny if they demand. Beware of being captives before you serve. Farewell. Come hither to me.
King speaks to attendants while Bertram, PAROLLES, and first and second DUMAINE Lord come forward.
Oh, my sweet lord, that you will stay behind us.
It's not his fault, the spark.
I am commanded here and kept a coil with too young, and the next year, and 'tis too early.
And thy mind stand to it, boy. Steal away bravely.
I shall stay here, the 4-horse to a smock, creaking my shoes on the plain masonry, till honor be bought up, and no sword worn but one to dance with. By heaven, I'll steal away.
There's honor in the theft.
Commit it, Count.
I am your accessory, and so farewell.
I grow to you, and our parting is a tortured body.
Farewell, Captain, sweet Monsieur PAROLLES.
Noble heroes, my sword and yours are kin. Good sparks and lustrous, a word, good medals you shall find in the regiment of the Spini, one Captain Spurio with his cicatrice, an emblem of war, here on his sinister cheek. It was this very sword entrenched it. Say to him I live, and observe his reports for me.
We shall, noble captain.
More's dote on you for his novices.
Exit first and second DUMAINE Lords.
What will you do?
Stay the king.
Use a more spacious ceremony to the noble lords. You have restrained yourself within the list of too cold an adieu. Be more expressive to them, for they wear themselves in the cap of the time. They do muster true gait, eat, speak, and move under the influence of the most received star, and though the devil lead the measure, such are to be followed. After them, and take a more dilated farewell. Worthy fellows, and like to prove most sinewy swordsmen.
Exeunt Bertram and PAROLLES. Enter LAFEW, and he kneels before the king.
Pardon, my lord, for me and my tidings. But, my good lord, thus will you be cured of your infirmity?
No.
Oh, will you eat no grapes, my royal fox? Yes, but you will my noble grapes. And if my royal fox could reach them, I have seen medicine that's able to breathe life into a stone, quicken a rock, and make you dance canary with sprightly fire and motion, whose simple touch is powerful to erase King Pippin. Nay, to give great Charlemagne a pen in hand and write to her a love line.
What her is this?
Why, Dr. She. My lord, there's one arrived. If you will see her now, by my faith and honor, if seriously I may convey my thoughts in this my light deliverance, I have spoke with one that in her sex, her years, profession, wisdom, and constancy hath amazed me more than I dare blame my weakness. Will you see her? For that is her demand, and know her business. That done, laugh well with me.
Now, good LAFEW, bring in the admiration that we with thee may spend our wonder too, or take off thine by wondering how thou took'st it.
Nay, I'll fit you, and not be all day neither.
Exit LAFEW.
Thus he his special nothing ever prologues.
Re-enter LAFEW and Helen. With Helen.
This is his majesty. Say your mind to him. A traitor you do look like, but such traitors his majesty seldom fears. I am Crescent's uncle, that dare leave you two together. Fare you well.
Exit LAFEW.
Now, fair one, does your business follow us?
Aye, my good lord. Gerard de Narbonne was my father, and what he did profess well found.
I knew him.
The rather will I spare my praises towards him. Knowing him is enough. On his bed of death, many receipts he gave me, chiefly one which, as the dearest issue of his practice, and of his old experience, the only darling, he bade me store up as a triple eye, safer than mine own two, more dear. I have so, and hearing your high majesty is touched with that malignant cause wherein the honor of my dear father's gift stands chief in power, I come to tender it, and my appliance with all bounds humbleness.
We thank you, maiden, but may not be so credulous of cure when our most learned doctors leave us, and the congregated college have concluded that laboring art can never ransom nature from her inaidable estate. I say we must not so stain our judgment or corrupt our hope to prostitute our past cure malady to empirics, or to dissever them our great self and our credit to esteem a senseless help when help past sense we deem.
What I can do no hurt to try, since you set up yourself 'gainst remedy. He that of greatest works is finisher, oft does them by the weakest minister. So holy writ in babes hath judgment shown, when judges have been babes. Great floods have flown from simple sources, and great seas have dried, when miracles have by the greatest been denied. Oft expectation fails, and most oft there where most it promises, and oft it hits, where hope is coldest, and despair most shifts.
I must not hear thee. Fare thee well, kind maid. Thy pains not used must by thyself be paid. Proffers not took reap thanks for their reward.
Inspired merit so by breath is barred. It is not so with him that all things know, as 'tis with us that square our guests by shows. But most it is presumption in us, when the help of heaven we count the act of men. Dear sir, to my endeavors give consent. Of heaven, not me, make an experiment. I am not an impostor that proclaim myself against the level of mine aim, but know I think, and think I know most sure. My art is not past power, nor you past cure.
Art thou so confident? Within what space hopest thou my cure?
The greatest grace lending grace. Ere twice the horses of the sun shall bring their fiery torture his diurnal ring. Ere twice in murk and occidental damp, moist Hesperus hath quenched her sleepy lamp. Of 24 times the pilot's glass hath told the thievish minutes how they pass. What is infirm from your sound parts shall fly, health shall live free, and sickness freely die.
Upon thy certainty and confidence, what darest thou venture?
Acts of impudence? A strumpet's boldness? A divulged shame? Traduced by odious ballads, my maiden name seared otherwise. Nay, worst of worst, extended with vilest torture, let my life be ended.
Methinks in thee some blessed spirit doth speak his powerful sound with an organ weak. And what impossibility would slay in common sense, sense saves another way. Thy life is dear, for all that life can rate, worth the name of life in thee hath estimate. Youth, beauty, wisdom, courage, all that happiness and prime can happy call. Thou this to hazard, needs must intimate skill infinite, or monstrous desperate. sweet practicer, thy physic I will try, that ministers thine own death if I die.
If I break time or flinch in property of what I spoke, unpitied let me die, and well deserved. Not helping, death's my fee. But if I help, what do you promise me?
By my scepter and my hopes of heaven, make thy demand, I will make it even.
Then now shalt thou give me with thy kingly hand what husband in thy power I will command. Exempted be from me the arrogance to choose from forth the royal blood of France, my low and humble name to propagate with any branch or image of thy state. But such a one, thy vassal, whom I know is free for me to ask, thee to bestow.
Here is my hand. The premise is observed, thy will by my performance shall be served. So, make the choice of thy own time, for I, thy resolved patience, on thee still rely. More should I question thee, and more I must, though more to know could not be more to trust. From whence thou camest, how tended on, but rest, unquestioned, welcome, and undoubted, blessed. Give me some help here, ho! If thou proceed, as high as my word, my deed shall match thy deed.
Flourish, exeunt, the king assisted. Scene 2, Roussillon, the Count's palace. Enter Countess and LAVATCH.
Come on, sir, I shall now put you to the height of your breeding.
I will show myself highly fed and lowly taught. I know my business is but to the court.
To the court? Why, what place make you special when you put off that with some contempt? But to the court?
Here it is, and all that belongs to't. Ask me if I am a courtier. It shall do you no harm to learn.
I will be a fool in question, hoping to be the wiser by your answer. I pray you, sir, are you a courtier?
Oh, Lord, sir, there's a simple putting off. More, 100 of them.
Sir, I am a poor friend of yours that loves you.
Oh, Lord, sir, thick, spare not me.
I think, sir, you can eat none of this homely meat.
Oh, Lord, sir, nay, put me to't, I warrant you.
You were lately whipped, sir, as I think?
Oh, Lord, sir, spare not me.
Do not cry, oh Lord, sir, at your whipping, and spare not me. Indeed, your oh Lord, sir, is very sequent to your whipping. You would answer very well to a whipping if you were but bound to it.
I ne'er had worse luck to my life in my oh Lord, sir. I see things may serve long, but not serve ever.
I play the noble housewife with the time to entertain it so merrily with a fool.
Oh Lord, sir, why there serves well again.
An end, sir, to your business. Give Helen this, and urge her to present answer back. Commend me to my kinsman and my son. This is not much.
Not much commendation to them?
Not much employment for you. You understand me?
Most fruitfully. I am there before my legs.
Haste you again.
Scene 3, Paris, the King's Palace. Enter Bertram, LAFEW, and PAROLLES.
They say miracles are past, and we have our philosophical persons to make modern and familiar things supernatural and causeless.
Why, 'tis the rarest argument of wonder that hath shot out in our latter times.
To be relinquished of the artists.
Oh, I say, both of Galen and Paracelsus.
Of all the learned and authentic fellows.
Right, so I say.
That gave him out incurable.
Well, there 'tis, so say I too.
Not to be helped.
Right, as for a man assured of
A certain life and sure death.
Just, you say well. So would I have said.
I may truly say it is a novelty to the world.
That's it. I would have said the very same.
Well, why your dolphin is not lustier? For me, I speak in respect.
It is strange. 'Tis very strange. That is the brief and the tedious of it. And he's not a most fascinerous spirit that will not acknowledge it to be the
very hand of heaven.
Aye, so I say.
In the most weak
and debile minister. Great power, great transcendence, which should indeed give us a further use to be made then alone in the recovery of the king as to be
generally thankful.
Enter King, Helen, and attendants.
Would have said it. You say well. Here comes the king.
Go, call before me all the lords in court. Sit, my preserver, by thy patient side, and with this healthful hand, whose banished sense thou hast repealed, a second time receive the confirmation of my promised gift, which but attends thy naming. Fair maid, set forth thine eye. This youthful parcel of noble bachelors stands at my bestowing, o'er whom both sovereign power and father's voice I have to use. Thy frank election make, thou hast power to choose, and they none to forsake.
To each of you one fair and virtuous mistress fall when love pleases. Marry to each but one.
My mouth no more were broken than these boys, and ripped as little beard.
Peruse them well. Not one of these but had a noble father.
Gentlemen, heaven hath through me restored the king to health. I am a simple maid, and therein wealthiest that I protest I simply am a maid. Please it your majesty, I have done already the blushes in my cheek, thus whisper me. We blush that should choose, but be refused, let the white death sit on thy cheek forever. We'll never come there again.
Make choice, and see, who shuns thy love, shuns all his love in me.
Now, Diane, from thy altar do I fly, and to imperial love that God most high do my sighs stream. I dare not say I take you, but give me ever whilst I live into your guiding power. This is the man.
Why then, young Bertram, take her. She's thy wife.
My wife, my liege? I shall beseech your highness in such a business give me leave to use the help of mine own eyes.
Know'st thou not, Bertram, what she's done for me?
Yes, my good lord, but never hope to know why I should marry her.
Thou know'st, she has raised me from my sickly bed.
But follows it, my lord, to bring me down must answer for your raising? I know her well. She had her breeding at my father's charge. A poor physician's daughter, my wife? Disdain rather corrupt me ever.
The only title thou disdain'st in her, the which I can build up. Strange it is that our bloods of color, weight, and heat, poured all together, would quite confound distinction, yet stands it off in differences so mighty. If she be all that is virtuous, save what thou dislikest, a poor physician's daughter, thou dislikest of virtue for the name, but do not do so. From lowest place, whence virtuous things proceed, the place is dignified by the doer's deed, where great addition swells, and virtue none, it is a dropsied honor. Good alone is good, without a name. Vileness is so. The property by what it is should go, not by the title. She is young, fair, wise, and these to nature she's immediate heir, and these breed honor. That is honor's scorn, which challenges itself. As honor's born and is not like the sire, honors thrive when rather from our acts we them derive than our foregoers. The mere words, a slave debauched on every tomb, on every grave, a lying trophy, as oft is dumb where dust and damned oblivion is the tomb of honored bones, indeed. What should be said? If thou canst like this creature as a maid, I can create the rest. Virtue and she is her own dower, honor and wealth from me.
I cannot love her, nor will strive to do it.
Thou wrong'st thyself if thou shouldst strive to choose.
That you are well restored, my lord, I'm glad. Let the rest go.
My honor's at the stake, which to defeat I must produce my power. Here, take her hand, proud, scornful boy, unworthy this good gift, that does vile, misprison shackle up my love and her desert. Thou canst not dream we, poising us in her defective scale, shall weigh thee to the beam that will not know it is in us to plant thine honor where we please to have it grow. Check thy contempt. Obey our will, which prevails in thy good. Believe not disdain, but presently do thine own fortunes that obedient right, which both thy duty owes and our power claims. Or I will throw thee from my care forever into the staggers and the careless lapse of youth and ignorance, both my revenge and hate, loosening upon thee in the name of justice, without all terms of pity. Speak thine answer.
Pardon, my gracious lord, for I submit to my fancy your eyes. When I consider what great creation and what dole of honor flies where you bid it, I find that she, which late was in my nobler thoughts most base, is now the praised of the king, who, so ennobled, is as 'twere born so.
Take her by the hand, and tell her she is thine, to whom I promise a counterpoise, if not to thy estate, a balance more replete.
I take her hand.
Good fortune and the favor of the king smile upon this contract, whose ceremony shall seem expedient on the now born grief, and be performed tonight. The solemn feast shall more attend upon the coming space, expecting absent friends. As thou lovest her, thy love's to me religious, else does err.
Exeunt all but PAROLLES and LAFEW.
Your lord and master did well to make his recantation.
Cantation? My lord, my master?
Aye, is it not a language I speak?
A most harsh one, and not one to be understood without bloody succeeding. My master?
Are you companion to the Count Roussillon?
To any count, to all counts, to what is man?
To what is Count's man? Count's master is of another style.
Oh, you are too old, sir. Let it satisfy you. You are too old.
I must tell thee, sirrah, I write man to which title age cannot bring thee.
What I dare too well do, I dare not do.
I did think thee for two ordinaries to be a pretty wise fellow. Thou didst make tolerable vent of thy travel. It might pass. Yet the scarves and the bannerets about thee did manifoldly dissuade me from believing thee a vessel of too great a burden. I have now found thee. When I lose thee again, I care not. Yet art thou good for nothing but taking up, and that thou art scarce worth.
Hadst thou not the privilege of antiquity upon thee?
But do not plunge thyself too far into anger, lest thou hasten thy trial. Which if Lord have mercy on thee for a hen. So my good window of lattice, fare thee well. Thy casement I need not open, for I look through thee.
Exit LAFEW.
Well, thou hast a son. shall take this disgrace off me. Scurvy, old filthy, scurvy lord. Well, I must be patient. There is no fettering of authority. I'll beat him, by my life, if I can't meet him with any convenience, as he were double and double a lord. I'll have no more pity of his age than I would have of... I'll beat him, and I could but meet him again.
Enter LAFEW.
Sirrah, your lord and master's married. There's news for you. You have a new mistress.
I most unfeignedly beseech your lordship to make some reservation of your wrongs. He is my good lord, whom I serve above, is my master.
Who? God?
Aye, sir.
The devil it is that's thy master. Why dost thou garden up the arms of this fashion? Dost make hose of thy sleeves? Do other servants so? Thou wouldst best set thy lower part where their nose stands. By my honor, if I were but 2 hours younger, I'd beat thee. Methinks thou art a general offense, and every man should beat thee. I think thou wast created for men to breathe themselves upon thee.
This is hard and undeserved measure, my lord.
Oh, go to, sir. You are a vagabond, and no true traveler. You are more saucy with lords and honorable personage than the commission of your birth and virtue gives you heraldry. You are not worth another word, else I call you knave. I leave you.
Exit LAFEW.
Good. Very good. It is so then. Good. Very good. Let it be concealed a while.
Enter Bertram.
Undone and forfeited to cares forever!
What's the matter, sweetheart?
Although before the solemn priest I have sworn, I will not bed her.
What? What, sweetheart?
Oh, my paroles, they have married me. I'll to the Tuscan wars and never bed her.
To the wars?
There's letters from my mother. What the import is, I know not yet.
To the wars, my boy? To the wars? To other regions? France is a stable. We that dwell in it are jades. Therefore, to the war.
It shall be so. I'll send her to my house, acquaint my mother with my hate to her, and wherefore I am fled, write to the king that which I durst not speak. His present gift shall furnish me to those Italian fields where noble fellows strike. Wars is no strife to the dark house and the detested wife. I'll send her straight away. Tomorrow I'll to the wars, she to her single sorrow.
Exeunt. Scene 4, Paris, the king's palace. Enter Helen with a paper and LAVATCH.
My mother greets me kindly. Is she well?
She is not well, but yet she has her health. She's very merry, but yet she is not well. But thanks be given, she's very well, and wants nothing the world, but yet she is not well.
If she be very well, what does she ail that she's not very well?
Truly, she's very well indeed, but for 2 things.
What 2 things?
One, that she's not in heaven, whither God send her quickly. The other, that she's in earth, from whence God send her quickly.
Enter PAROLLES.
Bless you, my fortunate lady.
I hope, sir, I have your good will to have mine own good fortunes.
You had my prayers to lead them on and to keep them, or have them still. Oh, my knave, how does my old lady?
So that you had her wrinkles and I her money, I would she did as you say.
Why, I say nothing.
Mary, you are the wiser man, for many a man's tongue shakes out his master's undoing. To say nothing, to do nothing, to know nothing, and to have nothing is to be a great part of your title, which is within a very little or of nothing.
Away! Thou art a knave. Madam, my lord will go away tonight. A very serious business calls on him. The great prerogative and right of love, which as your due time claims, he does acknowledge, but puts it off to a compelled restraint, whose want and whose delay is strewed with sweets, which they distill now in the curbed time, to make the coming hour o'erflow with joy and pleasure down the brim.
What's his will else?
That you take your instant leave of the king, and make this haste as your own good proceeding, strengthened, what with apology you think may make it probable need.
What more commands he?
That having this obtained, you presently attend his further pleasure.
In everything I will wait upon his will. I pray you, come, sirrah.
I shall report it so.
Exeunt. Scene 5, Paris, the King's Palace. Enter LAFEW and Bertram.
But I hope your lordship thinks not him a soldier.
Yes, my lord, and a very valiant approof.
You have it from his own deliverance.
And by other warranted testimony.
And my dial goes not true. I took this luck for a bunting.
I do assure you, my lord, he is a very great in knowledge, and accordingly valiant.
I have then sinned against his experience and transgressed against his valor. And my state that way is dangerous, since I cannot yet find in my heart to repent. Here he comes. I pray you make us friends. I will pursue the amity.
Enter PAROLLES, who speaks aside to Bertram.
These things shall be done, sir.
She gone to the king?
He is.
Will she away tonight?
As you'll have her.
I have writ my letters, casketed my treasure, given order for our horses, and tonight, when I should take possession of the bride, and, ere I do, begin.
A good traveler is something that the latter eat of a dinner. But one that lies 3/3 and uses a known truth to pass 1,000 nothings with it should be once heard and thrice beaten. Oh, God save you, Captain.
Is there any unkindness between my lord and your monsieur?
I know not how I have deserved to run into my lord's displeasure.
You hath made shift to run into it, boots and spurs and all, and out of it you'll run again rather than suffer questions for your residence.
It may be you have mistaken him, my lord.
And shall do so ever, though I took that's prayers. Fare you well, my lord, and believe this of me. There can be no colonel in this light nut. Trust him not in matter of heavy consequence. I have kept of them tame and know their natures. Farewell, monsieur. I have spoken better of you than you have or will deserve at my hand, but we must do good against evil.
Exit LAFEW.
An idle lord, I swear.
I think not so.
Why, do you not know him?
Yes, you know him well, and common speech gives him a worthy pass.
Enter
Here
Helen.
comes my clog.
I have, sir, as I was commanded from you, spoke with the king, and have procured his leave for present parting. Only he desires some private speech with you.
I shall obey his will. You must not marvel, Helen, at my course, which holds not color from the time, nor does the ministration and required office on my particular. Prepared I was not for such a business. Therefore I am found so much unsettled. This drives me to entreat you that presently you take your way for home, and rather muse than ask why I entreat you. For my respects are better than they seem, and my appointments have in them a need greater than shows itself at first view to you that know them not. This to my mother. 'Twill be 2 days ere I shall see you, so I leave you to your wisdom.
Sir, I can nothing say but that I am your most obedient servant.
Come, no more of that.
And ever shall with true observance seek to eke out that wherein toward me my only stars have failed to equal my great fortune.
Let that go. My haste is very great. Farewell. Hie home.
Pray, sir, your pardon?
Well, what would you say?
I am not worthy of the wealth I owe, nor dare I say 'tis mine. Yet it is. But like a timorous thief, most fain would steal what law does vouch mine own.
What would you have?
Something? Then scarce so much? Nothing, indeed. I would not tell you what I would, my lord. Faith? Yeah. Do not break your bidding, good my lord.
Go thou toward home, where I will never come whilst I can shake my sword or hear the drum.
Exeunt. Act 3, Scene 1. Florence, the Duke's palace. Flourish. Enter Duke of Florence, first and second DUMAINE lord, troop of soldiers.
So that from point to point, now have you heard the fundamental reasons of this war, whose great decision hath much blood let forth, and more thirsts after.
Holy seems the quarrel upon your grace's part, black and fearful on the opposer.
Therefore we marvel much our cousin France would be in so just a business shut his bosom 'gainst our barring prayers. Be't his pleasure. But I am sure the younger of our nation, that sure fate on their ease, will day by day come here for physic. Welcome shall they be, and all the honors that can fly from us shall on them settle. You know your places well. When better fall, for your avails they fell. Tomorrow to the field.
Flourish. Exeunt. Scene 2, Roussillon, the Count's palace. Enter Countess with a letter.
It hath happened all as I would have had it, save that he comes not along with her. Let me see what he writes and when he means to come. What have we here? I have sent you a daughter-in-law. She hath recovered the king and undone me. I have wedded her, not bedded her, and sworn to make the not eternal. You shall hear I am run away. Know it before the report come. If there be beneath enough, there be breath enough in the world, I will hold a long distance. My duty to you, your unfortunate son, Bertram. This is not well. Rash and unbridled boy, to fly the favors of so good a king, to pluck his indignation on thy head by the misprizing of a maid too virtuous for the contempt of empire?
Enter LAVATCH.
Oh, madam, yonder is heavy news within, between two soldiers and my young lady.
What is the matter?
Nay, there is some comfort in the news, some comfort. Your son will not be killed so soon as I thought he would.
Why should he be killed?
So say I, madam, if he run away, as I hear he does. The danger is in standing to that's the loss of men, though it be the getting of children. Here they come, will tell you more. For my part, I only hear your son was run away.
Exit LAVATCH. Enter Helen with a letter and first and second gentlemen.
save you, good madam.
Madam, my lord is gone, forever gone.
Do not say so.
Think upon patience, pray you. Gentlemen, I have felt so many quirks of joy and grief that the first face of neither on the start can woman me unto it. Where is my son, I pray you?
Madam, he's gone to serve the Duke of Florence. We met him thitherward, for thence we came. And after some dispatch in hand at court, thither we bent again.
Look on his letter, madam, here's my passport. When thou canst get the ring upon my finger, which never shall come off, and show me a child begotten of thy body that I am father to, then call me a husband. But in such a then I write a never. This is a dreadful sentence.
Brought you this letter, gentlemen?
Aye, madam, and for the contents' sake are sorry for our pains.
I pray thee, lady, have a better cheer. If thou engrosseth, all the griefs are thine. Thy robbest me of a moiety. He was my son, but I do wash his name out of my blood. And thou art all my child. Towards Florence, is he?
Aye, madam.
And to be a soldier?
Such is his noble purchase, and believe it, the Duke will lay upon him all the honor that good convenience claims.
Returned you thither?
Aye, madam, with the swiftest wing of speed.
Till I have no wife, or till I have no wife, I have nothing in France. 'Tis bitter.
Nothing in France until he have no wife. Oh, there's nothing here that is too good for him, but only she. And she deserves a lord that 20 such rude boys might tend upon and call her hourly mistress. Who was with him?
A servant only and a gentleman which I have sometime known.
PAROLLES, was it not?
Aye, my good lady, he.
A very tainted fellow and full of wickedness. My son corrupts a well-derived nature with his inducement. Oh, be welcome, gentlemen. I will entreat you when you see my son to tell him that his sword can never win the honor that he loses. More I'll entreat you, written to bear along.
We serve you, madam, in that and all your worthiest affairs.
Not so, but as we change our courtesies, will you draw near?
Exit Countess with first and second gentlemen.
Till I have no wife, I have nothing in France. Nothing in France until he has no wife. Thou shalt have none, Roussillon, none in France. Then hast thou all again. Poor Lord, is it I that chased thee from thy country, and expose those tender limbs of thine to the event of the non-sparing war? And is it I that drive thee from the sportive court, where thou wast shot at with fair eyes to be mark of smoky muskets? Oh, you leaden messengers that ride upon the violent speed of fire, fly with false aim, move the still-pairing air that sings with piercing, do not touch my lord. Whoever shoots at him, I set him there. Whoever charges on his forward breast, I am the caitiff that do hold him to it. And though I kill him not, I am the cause his death was so affected. Better 'twere I met the raven lion when he roared with sharp constraint of hunger. Better 'twere that all the miseries which nature owes were mine at once. No. Come thou home, Roussillon, whence honor but of danger wins a scar, as oft it loses all. I will be gone. My being here is it that holds thee hence. Shall I stay here to do it? No, no, although the air of paradise did fan the house and angels officed all. I will be gone. That pitiful rumor may report my flight to consolate thine ear. Come, night, and day, for with the dark poor thief I'll steal away.
Exit Helen. Scene 3, Florence, before the Duke's palace. Flourish, drum and colors. Enter Duke of Florence, Bertram, PAROLLES, and soldiers.
The general of our horse thou art, and we, great in our hope, lay our best love and credence upon thy promising fortune.
Sir, it is a charge too heavy for my strength, but yet will strive to bear it for your worthy sake to the extreme edge of hazard.
Then go thou forth, and fortune play upon thy prosperous helm as thy auspicious mistress.
This very day, great Mars, I put myself into thy file. Make me but like my thoughts, and I shall prove a lover of thy drum, hater of love.
Exeunt. Scene 4, Roussillon, the Count's palace. Enter Countess and Rinaldo with a paper.
Alas, and would you take the letter of her? Might you not know she would do as she has done by sending me a letter? Read it again.
I am Saint Jaques pilgrim thither gone. Ambitious love hath so in me offended that barefoot plod I the cold ground upon. With sainted vow my faults to have amended. Right that from the bloody course of war my dearest master, your dear son, may hie. Bless him at home in peace, whilst I from far his name with zealous fervor sanctify. His taken labors bid him me forgive. I, his despiteful Juno, sent him forth from courtly friends with camping foes to live, where death and danger dogs the heels of worth. He is too good and fair for death and me, whom I myself embrace to set him free.
Rinaldo, you did never lack advice so much as letting her pass so. Had I spoke with her, I could have well diverted her intents, which thus she hath prevented.
Yes, yet she writes pursuit would be but vain.
What angel shall bless this unworthy husband? He cannot thrive unless her prayers, whom heaven delights to hear and loves to grant, reprieve him from the wrath of greatest justice. Write, Rinaldo, to this unworthy husband of his wife. Let every word weigh heavy of her worth, that he does weigh too light. My greatest grief, though little he do feel it. Set down sharply. Dispatch the most convenient messenger. When haply he shall hear that she is gone, he will return, and hope I may that she, hearing so much, will speed her foot again, led hither by pure love, which of them both is dearest to me. I have no skill in sense to make distinction. Provide this messenger. My heart is heavy and mine age is weak. Grief would have tears and sorrow bids me speak.
Exeunt. Scene 5, Florence, without the walls. A tucket afar off. A tucket afar off. Enter a widow of Florence, her daughter Diana, and Mariana, with other citizens.
Ah, nay, come, for if they do approach the city, we shall lose all sight.
They say the French Count has done most honorable service.
It is reported that he has taken their greatest commander, and that with his own hand he slew the Duke's brother.
A trumpet sounds.
We have lost our labor. They are gone a contrary way.
Come, let us return again and suffice ourselves with report of it. Well, Diana, take heed of this French earl. The honor of a maid is her name, and no legacy is so rich as honesty.
I have told my neighbor how you have been solicited by a gentleman, his companion.
I know that knave. Hang him. One PAROLLES, a filthy officer. He is in those suggestions for the young earl. Beware of them, Diana. Their promises, enticements, oaths, tokens, and all these engines of lust are not the things they go under. Many a maid hath been seduced by them. I hope I need not to advise you further, but I hope your own grace will keep you where you are, though there were no further danger known but the modesty which is so lost.
You shall not need to fear me.
I hope so.
Enter Helen as a pilgrim.
Look, here comes a pilgrim. I know she will lie at my house. Thither they send one another. God save you, pilgrim. Whither are you bound?
To Saint Jacques-le-Grand. Where do the Palmers lodge, I do beseech you?
At the St. Francis here beside the port. If you will tarry, holy pilgrim, but till the troops come by, I will conduct you where you shall be lodged. The rather, for I think I know your hostess as ample as myself.
Is it yourself?
If you shall please so, pilgrim.
I thank you, and will stay upon your leisure.
You came, I think, from France?
I did so.
Ah, here you shall see a countryman of yours that has done worthy service.
His name, I pray you?
The Count Roussillon. Know you such a one?
But by the ear that hears most nobly of him, his face I know not.
Whatsoever he is, he's bravely taken here. He stole from France, as 'tis reported, for the king had married him against his liking. Think you it so?
I surely, mere the truth, I know his lady.
There is the gentleman that serves the count reports but coarsely of her.
What's his name?
Monsieur PAROLLES?
I believe with him. In argument of praise, or to the worth of the great count himself, she is too mean to have her name repeated. All her deserving is a reserved honesty, and that I have not heard examined.
Alas, poor lady, 'tis a hard bondage to become the wife of a detesting lord.
I warrant, good creature, wheresoe'er she is, her heart weighs sadly. This young maid might do her a shrewd turn if she pleased.
How do you mean? And maybe the amorous count solicits her in the unlawful purpose?
Oh, he does indeed, and brokes with all that can in such a suit corrupt the tender honor of a maid. But she is armed for him and keeps her guard in honestest defense.
The gods forbid else.
Drum and colors, enter Bertram, PAROLLES, and the whole army.
So now they come.
Which is the Frenchman?
He, that with the plume. 'Tis a most gallant fellow. I would he loved his wife. If he were honester, he were much goodlier. Is't not a handsome gentleman?
I like him well.
'Tis pity he is not honest. Yon's that same knave that leads him to these places. Were I his lady, I would poison that vile rascal. Why is he melancholy?
Perchance he's hurt in the battle.
Who's our drum? Well,
He's shrewdly vexed at something. Look, he has spied us.
Marry, hang you.
And your courtesy for a ring carrier?
Exit Bertram, PAROLLES, and the army.
The troop is past. Come, pilgrim, I will bring you where you shall host. Of enjoined penitents, there's 4 or 5 to great Saint Jacques bound, already at my house.
I humbly thank you. Please have this matron and this gentle maid to eat with us tonight. The charge and the thanking shall be for me. And to requite you further, I will bestow some precepts of this virgin worthy of the note.
We'll take your offer kindly.
Exeunt. Scene 6. Camp before Florence. Enter Bertram, first Dumaine Lord and second Dumaine Lord.
Nay, good my lord, put him to it. Let him have his way.
If your lordship find him not a hilding, hold me no more in your respect.
Do you think I am so far deceived in him?
Believe it, my lord, in mine own direct knowledge, without any malice, but to speak of him as my kinsman, he's a most notable coward, an infinite and endless liar, an hourly promise breaker, the owner of no one good quality worthy of your lordship's entertainment.
It were fit you knew him, lest reposing too far in his virtue, which he hath not, he might at some great and trusty business in a main danger fail you.
I would I knew in what particular action to try him.
None better than to let him fetch off his drum, which you hear him so confidently undertake to do.
I, with a troop of Florentines, will suddenly surprise him. Such I will have, whom I am sure he knows not from the enemy. We will bind him and hoodwink him so that he shall suppose no other but that he is carried into the leaguer of the adversaries when we bring him to our own tents. Be but your lordship present at his examination. If he do not for the promise of his life and in the highest compulsion of base fear offer to betray you and deliver all the intelligence in his power against you, and that with the divine forfeit of his soul upon oath, never trust my judgment in anything.
Here he comes.
Enter PAROLLES.
Oh, for the love of laughter, hinder not the honor of his design. Let him fetch off his drum in any hand.
How now, monsieur? This drum sticks sorely in your disposition.
A pox on't, let it go. 'Tis but a drum.
But a drum? It is but a drum so lost? There was excellent command to charge in with our horse upon our own wings and to rend our own soldiers.
Well, we cannot greatly condemn our success. Some honor we had in the loss of that drum, but it is not to be recovered.
It might have been recovered.
It might, but it is not now.
It is to be recovered, but that the merit of service is seldom attributed to the true and exact performer. I would have that drummer another, or hic jacet.
Oh, why, if you have a stomach, to it, monsieur! If you think your mastery and stratagem can bring this instrument of honor again into this native quarter, be magnanimous in the enterprise and go on. I will grace the attempt for a worthy exploit. If you speed well in it, the Duke shall both speak of it and extend to you what further becomes his greatness, even to the utmost syllable of your worthiness. But you must not now slumber in it.
I'll about it this evening, and I will presently pen down my dilemmas, encourage myself in any certainty, put myself into my mortal preparation, and by midnight look to hear further from me.
May I be bold to acquaint his grace you are gone about it?
I know not what the success will be, my lord, but the attempt I vow.
I know thou'rt valiant, and to the possibility of thy soldiership will subscribe for thee. Farewell.
I love not many words.
Exit PAROLLES.
No more than a fish loves water. Is not this a strange fellow, my lord, that so confidently seems to undertake this business, which he knows is not to be done, damns himself to do, and dares better be damned than do it?
Why, do you think he will make no deed at all of this that so seriously he does address himself onto?
None in the world, but return with an invention and clap upon you 2 or 3 probable lies. But we have almost embossed him. You shall see his fall tonight, for indeed he is not for your lordship's respect. I must go look my twigs. He shall be caught.
Your brother, he shall go along with me.
As it please your lordship, I'll leave you.
Exit First DUMAINE Lord.
Now will I lead you to the house and show you the lass I spoke of.
But you say she's honest.
That's all the fault. I spoke with her but once, and found her wondrous cold. But I sent to her, by this same coxcomb that we have in the wind, tokens and letters which she did resend. And this is all I have done. She's a fair creature. Will you go see her?
With all my heart, my lord.
Exeunt. Scene 7. Florence, the widow's house. Enter Helen and widow.
If you misdoubt me that I am not she, I know not how I shall assure you further, but I shall lose the grounds I work upon.
Though my estate be fallen, I was well born, nothing acquainted with these businesses, and would not put my reputation now in any staining act.
Nor would I wish you. First, give me trust the Count he is my husband. And what to your sworn counsel I have spoken is so from word to word. And then you cannot, by the good aid that I of you shall borrow, err in bestowing it. Take this purse of gold, and let me buy your friendly help thus far, which I will overpay and pay again when I have found it. The Count he woos your daughter, lays down his wanton siege before her beauty, resolved to carry her. Let her, in fine consent, as will direct her how 'tis best to bear it. Now his important blood will not deny that she'll demand. A ring the county wears, that downward hath succeeded in his house, from son to son, some 4 or 5 descents since the first father wore it. This ring he holds in most rich choice. Yet in his idle fire, to buy his will, it would not seem too dear, howe'er repented after.
Now I see the bottom of your purpose.
You see it lawful then. It is no more but that your daughter, ere she seems as one, desires this ring, appoints him an encounter, in fine, delivers me to fill the time, herself most chastely absent. After to marry her, I'll add 3,000 crowns to what is past already.
I have yielded. Instruct my daughter how she shall persever that time and place with this deceit so lawful may prove coherent. Every night he comes with musics of all sorts and songs composed to her unworthiness. If nothing steads us to chide him from our eaves, for he persists as if his life lay on it.
Why then, tonight, let us essay our plot, which, if it speed, is wicked meaning in a lawful deed, and lawful meaning in a lawful act, where both not sin and yet a sinful fact. But let's about it.
Exeunt. Act 4, Scene 1. Without the Florentine camp. Enter First DUMAINE Lord with soldier and more.
I'm here. He can come no other way but by this hedge corner. When you sally upon him, speak what terrible language you will. Though you understand it not yourselves, no matter, for we must not seem to understand him unless someone among us whom we must produce for an interpreter.
Good captain, let me be the interpreter.
Art not acquainted with him? Knows he not thy voice?
No, sir, I warrant you.
He must think us some band of strangers in the adversary's entertainment. Now, he hath a smack of all neighboring languages, therefore we must every one be a man of his own fancy, not to know what we speak one to another. As for you, interpreter, you must seem very politic. But couch ho, here he comes to beguile 2 hours in a sleep, and then to return and swear the lies he forges.
They move aside, enter PAROLLES.
10 o'clock. Within these 3 hours, 'twill be time enough to go home. What shall I say I have done? There must be very plausive invention that carries it. They begin to smoke me, and disgraces have of late knocked too often at my door. I find my tongue is too foolhardy, but my heart hath the fear of Mars before it, and of his creatures not daring the reports of my tongue. What the devil should move me to undertake the recovery of this drum, being not ignorant of the impossibility, and knowing I had no such purpose? I must give myself some hurts, and say I got them in exploit. Yet slight ones will not carry it, and great ones I dare not give. Tongue, you prattle me into these perils.
Is it possible he should know what he is and be that he is?
I would the cutting of my garments would serve the turn, or the breaking of my Spanish sword.
It would not do.
Or to drown my clothes and say I was stripped.
Hardly serve.
Though I swore I left from the window of the citadel.
How deep?
I would I had any drum of the enemies. I would swear I recovered it.
You shall hear one anon.
Alarum within. Thraka, Movosius, cargo.
Cargo. Belinda, cargo.
Oh, ransom, do not hide mine eyes.
They blindfold him.
Boscos, Thromodo, Boscos.
I know you are the Muscos regiment. I shall lose my life for want of language. If there here be German or Dane, Low Dutch, Italian or French, let him speak to me. I'll discover that which will undo the Florentine.
Boscos, Vavedo, I understand thee, and can speak thy tongue. Carriabunto, sir, betake thee to thy faith, for 17 poniards are at thy bosom.
Oh!
Oh, pray, Manca, Riona, Dulce, the general is content to spare thee yet, and hoodwinked as though art will lead thee on to gather from thee. Haply thou mayest inform something to save thy life.
Oh, let me live, and all the secrets of her camp I'll show their force, their purposes. Nay, I'll speak that which you will wonder at.
But wilt thou faithfully?
If I do not, damn me.
Accardo, Linta, come on, thou art granted space.
Exit soldier and paroles, under guard. A short alarum within.
Go tell the Count Roussillon and my brother we have caught the woodcock and will keep him muffled till we do hear from them. He will betray us all unto ourselves. Till then, I'll keep him dark and safely locked.
Exeunt. Scene 2, Florence, the widow's house. Enter Bertram and Diana.
Sir, my name is Diana.
Titled goddess, and worth it with addition. But, fair soul, in your fine frame hath no love quality? Have love no quality? If the quick fire of youth light not your mind, you are no maiden, but a monument. When you are dead, you should be such a one as you are now, for you are cold and stern, and now you should be as your mother was when your sweet self was got.
My mother did but duty, such, my lord, as you owe to your wife.
No more that. I prithee, do not strive against my vows. I was compelled to her, but I love thee by love's own sweet constraint, and will forever do thee all rights of service.
Aye, so you serve us till we serve you. But when you have our roses, you barely leave our thorns to prick ourselves and mock us with our bareness.
How have I sworn?
'Tis not the many oaths that makes the truth, but the plain single vow that is vowed true. If I should swear by Jove's great attributes I loved you dearly, would you believe my oaths when I did love you ill? This has no holding to swear by him whom I protest to love that I will work against him. Therefore, your oaths are words, and poor conditions but unsealed, at least in my opinion.
Change it, change it! Be not so wholly cruel. Love is holy, and my integrity ne'er knew the crafts that you do charge men with. Stand no more off, but give thyself unto my sick desires. Who then recovers? Say thou art mine, and ever my love, as it begins, shall so persevere.
I see that men may ropes in such a snare that we'll forsake ourselves. Give me that ring.
It is an honor longing to our house, bequeathed down from many ancestors, which were the greatest obloquy in the world, and me to lose.
Mine honors such a ring. My chastity's the jewel of our house, bequeathed down from many ancestors, which were the greatest obloquy in the world in me to lose. Thus, your own proper wisdom brings in the champion honor on my part against your vain assault.
Here, take my ring, and my house, mine honor, yea, my life be thine, and I'll be bid by thee.
When midnight comes, knock at my chamber window. I'll order take my mother shall not hear. Now will I charge you in the band of truth. When you have conquered my yet maiden bed, remain there but an hour, nor speak to me. My reasons are most strong, and you shall know them when back again this ring shall be delivered. And on your finger in the night I'll put another ring, that what in time proceeds may token to the future our past deeds. Adieu till then fail not. You have won a wife of me, though there my hope be done.
Heaven on earth I have won by wooing thee.
For which live long to thank both heaven and me. You may so in the end.
Exit Bertram.
My mother told me just how he would woo, as if she sat in his heart. She says all men have the like oaths. He had sworn to marry me when his wife's dead. Therefore, I'll lie with him when I am buried. Since Frenchmen are so braid, marry that I will. I live and die a maid. Only in this disguise I think'd no sin to cozen him that would unjustly win.
Exit Diana. Scene 3, the Florentine camp. Exit first and second DUMAINE lord with soldiers.
You have not given him his mother's letter?
I have delivered it an hour since. There is something in't that stings his nature, for on the reading it he changed almost into another man.
He has much worthy blame laid upon him for shaking off so good a wife and so sweet a lady.
Especially he hath incurred the everlasting displeasure of the king, who had even tuned his bounty to sing happiness to him. I will tell you a thing, but you shall let it dwell darkly with you. He hath perverted a young gentlewoman here in Florence, of a most chaste renown. And this night he fleshes his will in the spoil of her honor. He hath given her his monumental ring, and thinks himself made in the unchaste composition.
Now God delay our rebellion, as we are ourselves. What things are we?
Merely our own traitors. He in this action contrives against his own nobility.
We shall not then have his company tonight?
Not till after midnight, for he is dieted to his hour.
That approaches apace. I would gladly have seen his company anatomized, that he might take a measure of his own judgments, wherein so curiously he had set this counterfeit.
We will not meddle with him till he come, for his presence must be the whip of the other.
In the meantime, what hear you of these wars?
I hear there is an overture of peace.
Nay, I assure you a peace concluded.
What will Count Roussillon do then? Will he travel higher or return again into France?
Sir, his wife some 2 months fled from his house. Her pretense is a pilgrimage to St. Jacques-le-Grand, which holy undertaking with most austere sanctimony she accomplished. And there residing, the tenderness of her nature became as a prey to her grief. In fine, made a groan of her last breath, and now she sings in heaven. By her own letters makes her story true, even to the point of her death. Her death itself, which could not be her office to say is come, was faithfully confirmed by the rector of the place.
Hath the Count all this intelligence?
Aye, and the particular confirmations, point from point, to the full arming of the verity.
I am heartily sorry that he'll be glad of this. The great dignity that his valor hath here acquired for him shall at home be encountered with a shame as ample.
The web of our life is of a mingled yarn, good and ill together. Our virtues would be proud if our faults whipped them not, and our crimes would despair if they were not cherished by our virtues. Here's his lordship now. How now, my lord? Is it not after midnight?
I have tonight dispatched 16 businesses, a month's length apiece, by an abstract of success. I have congened with the Duke. He hath offered letters of my commendations to the king, done my adieu with his nearest, buried a wife, mourned for her, writ to my mother that I am returning this morning, entertained my convoy, and between these main parcels of dispatch effected many nicer needs. The last was the greatest. That I have not yet ended. Yet.
If the business be of any difficulty, and this morning your departure hence, it requires haste of your lordship.
I mean the business is not ended, as fearing to hear of it hereafter. But shall we have this dialogue between the fool and the soldier? Come, bring forth this counterfeit module. Has deceived me like a double-meaning prophesizer.
Bring him forth. Has sat at the stocks all night, poor gallant knave.
No matter. His heels have deserved it in usurping his spurs so long. How does he carry himself?
I have told your lordship already. The stocks carry him. But to answer you as you would be understood, he weeps like a wench that had shed her milk. He hath confessed himself to Morgan, whom he supposes to be a friar, from the time of his remembrance to this very instant disaster of his setting in the stocks. And what think you he hath confessed?
Nothing of me, has he?
His confession is taken, and it shall be read to his face. If your lordship be it, as I believe you are, you must have the patience to hear it.
Muffled. You can say nothing of me.
Hush, hush, Hoodman comes. Porto Tartalarosa.
What will you say without him?
I will confess what I know without constraint if you pinch me like a pastry. I can say no more.
Bosco, Chemocho.
Baba Linda Chimichurrico.
You are a merciful general. Our general bids you answer to what I shall ask you out of a note.
And truly, as I hope to live.
First, Demand of him how many horse the Duke is strong. What say you to that?
5 or 6,000, but very weak and unserviceable. The troops are all scattered, and the commanders are very poor rogues upon my reputation and credit, and as I hope to live.
All's one to him. What a past-saving slave is this?
Well, that's set down.
Poor rogues, I pray you say.
Well, that's set down.
I humbly thank you, sir. A truth's a truth. The rogues are marvelous poor.
Demand of him what strength they are afoot. What say you to that?
By my troth, sir, if I were to live but this present hour, I will tell true. Upon my life amounts not to 15,000 pole, half of which dare not shake the snow from their cassocks, lest they shake themselves to pieces.
What shall be done to him?
Nothing but let him have thanks. Demand of him my condition and what credit I have with the Duke.
Well, that's set down. You shall demand of him whether one Captain DUMAINE be I the camp, a Frenchman, what his reputation is with the Duke, what his valor, honesty, and expertness in wars, or whether he thinks it were not possible with weighing sums of gold to corrupt him to a revolt. What say you to this? What do you know of it?
I beseech you, let me answer to the particular of these interrogatories. Demand them singly.
Do you know this Captain DUMAINE?
I know him. He was a botcher's apprentice in Paris, from whence he was ripped for getting the Shreve's tool with a child, a dumb innocent that could not say him nay.
Nay, by your leave, hold your hands, though know his brains are forfeit to the next tile that falls.
Well, is this captain in the Duke of Florence's camp?
Upon my knowledge he is, and lousy.
What is his reputation with the Duke?
Huh. The Duke knows him for no other but a poor officer of mine, and writ to me this other day to turn him out of the band. I think I have this letter in my pocket.
Mary will search.
In good sadness, I do not know. Either it is there, or it is upon a tile with the Duke's other letters in my tent.
Here it is. Here is a paper. Shall I read it to you?
I do not know if it be so.
Our interpreter does it well.
Excellently.
Diane, the Count's a fool, and full of gold.
Oh, no, that is not the Duke's letter, sir. That is an advertisement to a proper maid in Florence, one Diana, to take heed of the allurement of one Count Roussillon, a foolish idle boy, but for all that very ruddish. I pray you, sir, put it up again.
Nay, I'll read it first, by your favor.
My meaning in it, I protest, was very honest in the behalf of the maid, for I knew the young Count in to be a dangerous and lascivious boy, who is a whale to virginity and devours up all the fry he finds.
Damnable both sides rogue.
When he swears oaths, bid him drop gold, and take it. After he scores, he never pays the score. Half won is match well made. Match, and well make it. He ne'er pays after debts. Take it before, and say a soldier, Dien, told thee this. Men are to mell with, boys are not to kiss. For account of this, the Count's a fool, I know it. Who pays before? But not when he does owe it. Thine as he vowed to thee in thine ear, PAROLLES.
He shall be whipped through the army with his rhyme in his forehead.
This is your devoted friend, sir, the manifold linguist and the armipotent soldier.
I could endure anything before but a cat. Now he's a cat to me.
I perceive, sir, by our general's look we shall be fain to hang you.
My life, sir, in any case. Not that I am afraid to die, but that my offenses being many, I would repent out the remainder of nature. Let me live, sir, in a dungeon, in the stocks, or anywhere, so I may live.
We'll see what may be done, so you confess freely. Therefore, once more to this Captain DUMAINE, what's his brother, the other Captain DUMAINE?
Why does he ask him of me?
What's he?
In a crow of the same nest, not altogether so great as the first in goodness, but greater a great deal in evil. He excels his brother for a coward, yet his brother is reputed one of the best that is.
If your life be saved, will you undertake to betray the Florentine?
Aye, and the captain of his horse, Count Roussillon.
I'll whisper with the general and know his pleasure.
Oh, I'll no more drumming, a plague on all drums, only to seem to deserve well and to beguile the supposition of that lascivious young boy, the Count. Have I run unto this danger? Yet who would have suspected an ambush where I was taken?
There is no remedy, sir, but you must die. The general says that you that have so treacherously discovered the secrets of your army and made such pestiferous reports of men very nobly held, can serve the world for no honest use. Therefore you must die. Come, headsmen, off with his head.
Oh, Lord, sir, let me live, or let me see my death.
That shall you, and take your leave of all your friends. Look about you. Know you any here?
Good morrow, noble captain.
God bless you, Captain PAROLLES.
God save you, noble captain.
Captain, what greeting will you to my Lord LAFEW? I am for France.
A good captain, will you give me a copy of the sonnet you writ to Diana in behalf of the Count Roussillon? And I were not a very coward, I'd compel it of you. But fare you well.
Who cannot be crushed with a plot?
If you could find out a country where but women were that had received so much shame, you might begin an impudent nation. Fare you well, sir. I am for France too. We shall speak of you there.
Yet I am thankful. If my heart were great, 'twould burst at this. Captain, I'll be no more, but I will eat and drink and sleep as soft as captain shall. Simply the thing I am shall make me live. Who knows himself a braggart, let him fear this. For it will come to pass that every braggart should be found an ass. Rust sword, cool blushes, and PAROLLES live safest in shame. Being fooled by foolery thrive, there's a place and means for every man alive. I laugh to them.
Scene 4, Florence, the widow's house. Enter Helen, widow, and Diana.
That you may well perceive I have not wronged you, one of the greatest in the Christian world shall be my surety, for whose throne 'tis needful, ere I can perfect mine intents, to kneel. Time was I did him a desired office, dear almost as his life, which gratitude through flinty Tartar's bosom would peep forth and answer thanks. I duly am informed his grace is at Marseilles, to which place we have convenient convoy. You must know I am supposed dead. The army breaking, my husband hies him home, where, heaven abiding, and by the leave of my good lord the king, will be before our welcome.
Gentle madam, you never had a servant whose trust your business was more welcome.
Nor you, mistress, ever a friend whose thoughts more truly labor to recompense your love. Doubt not but heaven hath brought me up to be your daughter's dower, as it hath fated her to be my motive and helper to a husband. But, oh, strange men, that can such sweet use make of what they hate, when saucy trusting of the cousin thoughts defiles the pitchy night. So lust doth play with what it loathes for that which is away. But more of this hereafter. You, Diana, unto my poor instructions, yet must suffer something in my behalf.
Let death and honesty go with your impositions. I am yours upon your will to suffer.
We must away. Our wagon is prepared, and time revives us. All's well that ends well. Still, the fine's the crown. Whate'er the course, the end is the renown.
Exeunt. Scene 5, Roussillon, the Count's palace. Enter Countess, LAVATCH, and LAFEW.
No, no, no. Your son was misled with a stiffity taffeta fellow there, whose villainous saffron would have made all the unbaked and doughy youth of a nation in his color. Your daughter-in-law had been alive at this hour, and your son here at home more advanced by the king than that red-tailed humblebee I speak of.
I would I had not known him. It was the death of the most virtuous gentlewoman that ever nature had praised for creating. If she had partaken of my flesh and cost me the dearest groans of a mother, I could not have owed her a more rooted love.
'Twas a good lady. 'Twas a good lady. We may pick 1,000 salads ere we light on another herb.
Indeed, sir, she was the sweet marjoram of the salad, or rather the herb of grace.
Whether dost thou profess thyself a knave or a fool?
A fool, sir, at a woman's service, and a knave at a man's.
Your distinction?
I would cozen the man of his wife, and do his service.
So you were a knave at his service indeed.
And I would give his wife my bauble, sir, to do her service.
I will subscribe for thee. Thou art both knave and fool.
At your service.
Oh, no.
Why, sir, if I cannot serve you, I can serve as great a prince as you are.
What prince is that?
The Black Prince, sir. Elias, the Prince of Darkness. Elias the Devil.
Hold thee. There's my purse. I give thee not this, suggest thee from thy master thou'st talk of. Serve him well. Go thy ways. I begin to be aweary of thee. Let my horses be well looked at without any tricks.
If I put any tricks upon them, sir, they shall be jade's tricks, which are their own right by the law of nature.
A shrewd knave and an unhappy.
So he is. My lord that's gone made himself much sport out of him. By his authority he remains here, which he thinks is a patent for his sauciness, and indeed he has no pace, but runs where he will.
I like him well. 'Tis not amiss. And I was about to tell you, since I heard of the good lady's death, and that my lord, your son, was upon his return home, I moved the king, my master, to speak in behalf of my daughter, which in the minority of them both his majesty, out of a self-gracious remembrance, did first propose. His highness has promised me to do it, and to stop the displeasure he hath conceived against your son. There is no fitter matter. How dost your ladyship like it?
We're very much content, my lord, and I wish it happily effected.
His highness come post from Marseilles, of as able body as when he numbered 30. He will be here tomorrow, or I am deceived by him that in son's intelligence hath seldom failed.
It rejoices me that, I hope, I shall see him ere I die. I have letters that my son will be here tonight. I shall beseech your lordship to remain with me till they meet together.
Re-enter LAVATCH.
Oh, madam, yonder's my lord, your son, with a patch of velvet on's face. Whether there be a scar under or no, the velvet knows, but 'tis a goodly patch of velvet. His left cheek is a cheek of 2.5 but his right cheek is worn bare.
A scar nobly got, or a noble scar, is a good livery of honor. So belike is that.
But it is your carbonated carbonadoed face.
Let us go see your son, I pray you. I long to talk with the young noble soldier.
Exeunt. Act 5. Scene 1. Marseille, a street. Enter Helen, widow, and Diana, and with two attendants.
This exceeding posting day and night must wear your spirits low. We cannot help it. But since you have made the days and nights as one to weigh your gentle limbs in my affairs, be bold you do so grow, and my requital as nothing can unroot you.
Enter a gentleman.
Oh, in happy time. This man may help me to his majesty's ears if he would spend his power. God save you, sir.
And you?
Sir, I've seen you in the court of France.
I have been sometimes there. What's your will?
That it will please you to give this poor petition to the king, and aid me with that store of power you have to come into his presence.
The king's not here.
Not here, sir.
Not indeed. He hence removed last night, and with more haste than is his use.
Lord, how we lose our pains.
All's well that ends well yet. Though time seems so adverse and means unfit. I do beseech you, whither is he gone?
Marry, as I take it, to Roussillon, whither I am going.
I do beseech you, sir, since you are like to see the king before me, commend the paper to his gracious hand, which I presume shall render you no blame, but rather make you thank your pains for it. I will come after you with what good speed our means will make us means.
This I'll do for you.
And you shall find yourself to be well thanked, whate'er falls more. We must to horse again. Go, provide.
Exeunt. Scene 2. Roussillon, before the Count's palace. Enter LAVATCH and PAROLLES.
Oh, good Monsieur LAVATCH, give my lord LAFEW this letter. I have ere now, sir, been better known to you when I have held familiarity with fresher clothes. But I am now, sir, muddied in fortune's mood, and smell somewhat strong of her strong displeasure.
Truly, fortune's displeasure is but sluttish, if it smells so strongly as thou speakst of.
Nay, you need not to stop your nose, sir. I spake but by a metaphor.
Indeed, sir, if your metaphors stink, I will stop my nose, or against any man's metaphor. Prithee, get thee further.
Pray you, sir, deliver me this paper.
Foe, prithee, stand away. A paper from fortune's close stool to give to a nobleman.
Enter LAFEW. Continue LAVATCH.
Oh, look here, he comes himself. Here is a purr of fortune's, sir or of fortune's cat, but not a muscat, that has fallen into the unclean fish pond of her displeasure, and, as he says, is muddied withal. Pray you, sir, use the carp as you may.
Exit LAVATCH.
My lord, I am a man whom fortune hath cruelly scratched.
And what would you have me do? 'Tis too late to pare her nails now. Wherein have you played the knave with fortune that she should scratch? Who of herself is a good lady, and would not have knaves thrive long under her. There's a cardew for you. Let the justices make you and fortune's friends. I am for other business.
I beseech your honor to hear me one single word. My name, good lord, is PAROLLES.
You beg more than a word, then. Cocks my passion. Give me your hand. How does your drum?
Oh, my good lord, you were the first that found me.
Wast I, in sooth? And I was the first that lost thee.
It lies in you, my lord, to bring me in some grace, for you did bring me out.
Oh, out upon thee, knave! Dost thou put upon me at once both the office of God and the devil? One brings thee in grace, and the other brings thee out.
Trumpet.
The king's coming. I know by his trumpet, sirrah. Inquire further about me. I had talk of you last night. Though you are a fool and a knave, you shall eat. Go to, follow.
I praise God for you.
Exeunt. Scene 3, Roussillon, the Count's palace. Flourish. Enter King, Countess, LAFEW, first and second DUMAINE lords.
We've lost a jewel of her, and our esteem was made much poorer by it. But your son, as mad in folly, lacked the sense to know her estimation home.
'Tis past, my liege, and I beseech your majesty to make it natural rebellion done in the blade of youth, when oil and fire too strong for reason's force o'erbears it and burns on.
My dear lady, I have forgiven and forgotten all, though my revenges were high bent upon him and watched the time to shoot.
Yes, I must say, but first I beg my pardon. The young lord did to his majesty, his mother, and his lady offense of mighty note, but to himself the greatest wrong of all. He lost a wife whose beauty did astonish the survey of richest eyes, whose words all ears took captive, whose dear perfection heart that scorned to serve humbly called mistress.
Praising what is lost makes remembrance dear. Well, call them hither. We're reconciled, and the first view shall kill all repetition. Let him not ask our pardon. The nature of his great offense is dead, and deeper than oblivion we do bury the incensing relics of it. Let him approach. What says he to your daughter? Have you spoke?
All that he hath reference to your highness.
Then shall we have a match. I have letters sent me that sets him high in fame.
He looks well on it.
I am not a day of season, for thou mayst see a sunshine and a hail in me at once. But to the brightest beams distracted clouds give way. So, stand thou forth, the time is fair again.
My high repented blames, dear Sarvan, pardon to me.
All is whole. Not one word more of the consumed time. You remember the daughter of this lord?
Admiringly, my liege. At first I stuck my choice upon her, ere my heart durst make too bold a herald of my tongue, where the impression of mine eye in fixing, contempt his scornful perspective did lend me, which warped the line of every other favour, scorned a fair colour, or expressed it stolen, extended or contracted all proportions to a most hideous object. Thence it came that she whom all men praise, and whom myself, since I have lost, have loved, was in mine eye the dust that did offend it.
Well excused. That thou didst love her strikes some scores away from the great Comte. Our rash faults make trivial price of serious things we have, not knowing them until we know their grave. Oft our displeasures, to ourselves unjust, destroy our friends, and after weep their dust. Be this sweet Helen's now, and now forget her. Send forth your amorous token for fair Maudlin. The main consents are had, and here we'll stay to see our widower's second marriage day.
Which better than the first? O dear heaven, bless or ere they meet in me, O nature, cease.
Oh, come on, my son, in whom my house's name must be digested. Give a favor from you to sparkle in the spirits of my daughter, that she may quickly come.
Bertram gives him a ring.
Be my old beard and every hair that's on it. Helen that's dead was a sweet creature. Such a ring as this, the last that e'er I took her leave to court, I shall upon her finger.
Hers it was not.
Now, I pray you, let me see it, for mine eye, while I was speaking oft, was fastened to't. This ring was mine, and when I gave it Helen, I bade her if her fortunes ever stood necessity to help, that by this token I would relieve her. Had you the craft to reave her of what should stead her most?
My gracious sovereign, however it pleases you to take it so, the ring was never hers.
Son, on my life, I have seen her wear it, and she reckoned it at her life's rate.
I am sure I saw her wear it.
You are deceived, my lord. She never saw it. In Florence was it from a casement thrown me, wrapped in a paper which contained the name of her that threw it. Noble she was, and thought I stood ungaged. But when I had subscribed to mine own fortune, and informed her fully I could not answer in that course of honour, as she had made the overture, she ceased in heavy satisfaction, and would never receive the ring again.
Plutus himself hath not in nature's mystery more science than I have in this ring. 'Twas mine, 'twas Helen's, whoever gave it you. Then if you know that you are well acquainted with yourself, confess 'twas hers, and by what rough enforcement you got it from her. She called the saints to surety that she would never put it from her finger, unless she gave it to yourself in bed, where you have never come, or sent it us upon her great disaster.
She never saw it.
Thou speak'st it falsely, as I love mine honour, and makest conjectural fears to come in me, which I would fain shut out. If it should prove that thou art so inhuman, 'twill not prove so, and yet I know not. Thou didst hate her deadly, and she is dead, which nothing but to close her eyes myself could win me to believe more than to see this ring. Take him away. My foremost proof, soe'er the matter fall, shall tax my fears of little vanity, having vainly feared too little. Away with him. We'll sift this matter further.
If you shall prove this ring was ever hers, you shall as easy prove that I husbanded her bed in Florence, where yet she never was.
Exit Bertram under guard.
I am wrapped in dismal thinkings.
Enter a gentleman.
Gracious sovereign, here's a petition from a Florentine, who hath for 4 or 5 removes come short to tender herself. I undertook it, vanquished thereto by the fair grace and speech of the poor suppliant, who by this I know is here attending. Her business looks in her with an importing visage, and she told me in a sweet verbal brief, it did concern your highness with herself.
Upon his many protestations to marry me when his wife was dead, I blush to say it, he won me. Now is the Count Roussillon a widower, his vows are forfeited to me, and my honors paid to him. He stole from Florence, taking no leave, and I follow him to his country for justice. Grant it me, O king, in you it best lies. Otherwise a seducer flourishes, and a poor maid is undone. Diana Capulet.
I will buy me a son-in-law in a fair, and toll for this, I'll none of him.
The heavens have thought well on thee, LAFEW, to bring forth this discovery. Seek these suitors. Go speedily, and bring again the Count.
Gentlemen and attendants exit.
I am afeard the life of Helen, lady, was foully snatched.
Now justice on the doers.
Enter Bertram under guard.
I wonder, sir, since wives are monsters to you, and that you fly them as you swear them lordship, yet you desire to marry.
Enter Widow and Diana.
What woman's that?
I am, my lord, a wretched Florentine, derived from the ancient Capulet. My suit, as I do understand, you know, and therefore know how far I may be pitied.
I am her mother, sir, whose age and honor both suffer under this complaint we bring, and both shall cease without your remedy.
Come hither, Count. Do you know these women?
My lord, I neither can nor will deny but that I know them. Do they charge me further?
Why do you look so strange upon your wife?
She's none of mine, my lord.
If you shall marry, you give away this hand, and that is mine. You give away heaven's vows, and those are mine. You give away myself, which is known mine, for I by vow am so embodied yours, that she which marries you must marry me, either both or none.
Your reputation comes too short for my daughter. You are no husband for her.
My lord, this is a fond and desperate creature, whom sometime I have laughed with. Let your highness lay a more noble thought upon mine honor than for to think that I would sink it here.
Sir, for my thoughts you have them ill to friend, till your deeds gain them. Fairer prove your honor than in my thought it lies.
Good my lord, ask him upon his oath if he does think he had not my virginity.
What say'st thou to her?
She's impudent, my lord, and was a common gamester to the camp.
He does me wrong, my lord. If I were so, he might have bought me at a common price. Do not believe him. Oh, behold this ring, whose high respect and rich validity did lack a parallel. Yet for all that he gave it to a commoner of the camp, if I be one.
He blushes, and 'tis hit, of 6 preceding ancestors, that gem, conferred by a testament to the sequent issue, hath it been owed and worn. This is his wife, that rings 1,000 proofs.
I saw one here in court could witness it, but loath am to produce so bad an instrument. His name's PAROLLES.
I saw the man, if man he be.
Find him and bring him hither.
What of him? He's quoted for a most perfidious slave, with all the spouts of the world taxed and debauched, whose nature sickens but to speak a truth. But to speak a truth. Am I or that or this for what he'll utter? That will speak anything?
She hath that ring of yours.
I think she has. Certain it is I liked her and boarded her in the wanton way of youth. She knew her distance and did angle for me, maddening my eagerness with her restraint, as all impediments in fancy's course are motives of more fancy. And in fine, her infinite cunning with her modern grace subdued me to her rate. She got the ring, and I had that which any inferior might at market price have bought.
I must be patient. You that have turned off a first so noble wife may justly diet me. I pray you yet, since you lack virtue, I will lose a husband. Send for your ring. I will return it home and give me mine again.
I have it not.
What ring was yours, I pray you?
Sir, much like the same upon my finger.
Know you this ring? This ring was his of late.
And this was it I gave him, being avid.
The story then goes false. You threw at him out of a casement?
I have spoke the truth.
Enter PAROLLES.
My lord, I do confess the ring was hers.
You boggle shrewdly. Every feather starts you. Is this the man you speak of?
Aye, my lord.
Tell me, sirrah, but tell me true. I charge you, not fearing the displeasure of your master, which, on your just proceeding, I'll keep off. By him and by this woman here, what know you?
So please your majesty, my master hath been an honorable gentleman. Tricky hath had in him which gentlemen have.
Come to the purpose. Did he love this woman?
He loved her, sir, and loved her not.
As thou art a knave and no knave, what an equivocal companion is this?
Do you know he promised me marriage?
Faith, I know more than I'll speak.
But wilt thou not speak all thou knowest?
Yes, so please your majesty. I did go between them, as I said, but more than that, he loved her. For indeed he was mad for her, and talked of Satan, and of limbo, and of furies, and I know not what. Yet I was in that credit with them at the time, that I knew of their going to bed, and of other motions, as promising her marriage, and things which should derive me of ill will to speak of. Therefore I will not speak what I know.
Thou hast spoken all already, unless thou canst say they are married. But thou art too fine in thy evidence. Therefore stand aside. This ring you say was yours?
Aye, my good lord.
Where did you buy it, or who gave it you?
It was not given me, nor did I not buy it.
Who lent it you?
It was not lent me, neither.
Where did you find it then?
I found it not.
If it were yours by none of all these ways, how could you give it to him?
I never gave it him.
This ring was mine. I gave it his first wife.
It might be yours or hers for aught I know.
Take her away. I do not like her now. To prison with her, and away with him, unless thou tell'st me where thou hadst this ring, thou diest within this hour.
I'll never tell you.
Take her away.
I'll put in bail, my liege.
I think thee now some common customer.
By Jove, if ever I knew man, 'twas you.
Wherefore hast thou accused him all this while?
Because he's guilty, and he is not guilty. He knows I am no maid, and he'll swear to't. I'll swear I am a maid, and he knows not. Great king, I am no strumpet. By my life, I am either maid, or else this old man's wife.
She does abuse our ears. To prison with her.
Good mother, fetch my bail. Say, royal sir, the jeweler that owes the ring is sent for, and he shall surety me. But for this lord, who hath abused me as he knows himself, though yet he never harmed me, here I quit him. He knows himself my bed he hath defiled, and at that time he got his wife with child. Dead though she be, she feels her young one kick. So there's my riddle, one that's dead is quick. And now behold the meaning.
Re-enter widow with Helen, pregnant.
Is there no exorcist beguiles the truer officer of mine eyes? Is't real, I see.
No, my good lord, 'tis but the shadow of a wife you see, the name and not the thing.
Both! Oh, pardon!
Oh, my good lord, when I was like this maid, I found you wondrous kind. There is your ring, and look you, here's your letter. This it says, when from my finger you can get this ring, and are by me with childs, etc. This is done. Will you be mine now that you are doubly one?
If she, my liege, can make me know this clearly, I'll love her dearly. Ever, ever dearly.
If it appear not plain and prove untrue, deadly divorce step between me and you.
Mine eyes smell onions. I shall weep anon. Good Tom Drum, lend me your handkerchief.
Let us from point to point this story know, to make the even truth in pleasure flow. If thou beest yet a fresh uncropped flower, choose thou thy husband, and I'll pay thy dower. For I can guess that by thy honest aid thou kept'st a wife herself, thyself a maid. Of that and all the progress, more and less, resolvedly more leisure shall express. All yet seems well, and if it ends so meet, the bitter past more welcome is the sweet.
Flourish. Epilogue.
The king's a beggar, now the play is done. All is well ended, if the suit be won, that you express content, which we will pay with strifts to please you, day exceeding day. Ours be your patience then, and yours our parts. Your gentle hands lend us, and take our hearts.
Exeunt. End of play.
Brava.